An NBC3 News investigation has uncovered a case of a fence installer admittedly taking thousands of dollars in down payments and never putting up the fence. The homeowners took complaints to the state attorney general. They filed lawsuits. They went to police. In the end, they did not get their money back or have the fence installed. Until we started to investigate, they did not even have an explanation from the business owner because they couldn't track him down. The serenity of a new pool in a tranquil backyard masks the story simmering under the surface.
It kind of turned into a nightmare, a mini nightmare anyways.
The Solomons put in the pool in the fall of 2014. That's when they put down $2,700 and signed a contract with Metro Fence. They say that's the last they heard from the owner.
A lot of mess, a lot of time, a lot of money.
We started combing through court records, digging into the background of Metro Fence. We discovered 3 other small claims cases between Oswego and Fulton City courts. A similar story repeated over the course of 2014 and 2015. According to the documents, homeowners put down deposits for $3,000, $4,400, and $3,000 to have fences installed. We went to their place of business in Altmar, Oswego County. Owner Richard Mullen was not home, but a family member dialed him on their cell phone and he picked up.
There's actually 5 cases out there that we ended up taking deposits on that we owe money. As I said, it's about $20,000. It's about what people owe us, but you know,
But you don't have the money to pay him at this point anyway, right?
No, we don't.
Brian Brown received a form letter from the office saying, "I trust this information is helpful." It was attached to a promise from Metro Fence that they would install the fence when supplies were available. Brian received that information 1 year after putting his money down.
How could that be satisfactory that the guy's had my money for a year? He was supposed to order the material when I paid him the money, and a year later he's still trying to get the material. To me, you know, there should have been some more, hopefully, I was thinking that something else would be done there.
Since our initial story aired a few weeks ago, we learned he was elected last fall to the Albion Town Board.
We were told not to record.
Some members of the town board tried to keep our photographer from recording video at their meeting. When the meeting ended, Mullen avoided the camera.
I told you I had nothing to say to you.
We'll talk to you right here.
I had nothing to say.
You didn't mention that you were on the town council. Right. So that's why we're here. You're a public official.
Other Albion Town Board members headed for the door.
What do you guys think about what's going on? No comment? It'd be easier if we just talked to you.
I'm not talking to you. I said no comment.
Well, then we'll wait.
You're going to wait.
He went into the town office and closed the door.
Now, what's your name?
My name's Aaron Walter,
And what's your role here?
town supervisor.
Town supervisor?
Yes.
And so what's your thought about having somebody on the town council who's...
I don't have any comment
who's
at all
not going
regarding
to
it.
court
It has nothing to do with
appearances?
town business.
Well, it does, because
does
he
not have
was
anything
just
to do with
elected
town
to
business.
office, but he's had court appearances
No more
scheduled.
comment, sir.
Okay. I'm asking to talk to Mr. Mullen about...
Go up to his house,
We've been to his house.
okay? And you talk to him.
He wasn't there.
You talk to him on the phone.
Nobody can reach him.
You talk to him on the phone. I
Right.
saw you talk to him on the
Right,
phone.
so you're aware of what we're here for then?
I'm aware that you've spoken to Mr. Mullen, yes.
Right. And at the time, we weren't aware that he was an elected official in the town of Albion.
Okay.
Since then, we have been. So we came to tonight's meeting for an opportunity to have him talk about running for office while also not going to court appearances.
Excuse me.
We hoped for an explanation from owner Richard Mullen about the lawsuit, running for elected office, and missing required small claims court appearances.
Nothing to do
Here's
with
what's
the town.
happened. You're in the middle.
Yes.
So-
And you're in my building.
Right, so it's not your building.
I'm the town supervisor.
You are. It's not your building, though. I mean, let's be clear. All he has to do is come out, and we'll talk to him.
He doesn't want to come out.
He did not come out.
came to a
The
meeting to
supervisor
talk to him.
threatened to
You
call
have
the
no right to
Oswego
talk to
County
him.
sheriff. We have new information tonight on an NBC3 investigation that started more than 8 months ago. In March, some homeowners contacted us looking for someone to listen to their story. They claimed they had paid thousands of dollars to a local fence company who took their down payment but never did the work. Well, tonight, after our investigation, the state attorney general has gone to court against the owners of Metro Fence. Letters went out a few weeks ago to several former customers. It says a court order now prohibits owners Richard and Rebecca Mullen from owning any home improvement business, including fence installation, unless they meet certain conditions. Those include posting a $25,000 bond with the AG's office if they want to do business again. The Mullins must pay nearly $13,000 in restitution to 5 clients, and Metro Fence also owes penalties of $3,000. Good evening. We continue to follow breaking news out of Kirkville tonight. Crews on the scene of a massive wildfire. Ash was falling from the sky this evening. The smoke plume could be seen for miles. People calling in from all over central New York. In fact, seen from as far away as Old Forge in the Adirondacks. The calls came in of this fire that had just started around 7 o'clock tonight. Multiple fire departments, Manoa, Kirkville, Manlius, all involved. 911 dispatch tells us the fire was acres wide and it is still going. New information just into us. It has not yet been contained.
It was able to detect triple Doppler radar, the fire, the smoke plume here. And here it is. There's Kirkville. And here's a little loop of it right there. Let's zero on in. You'll see what I mean. Even though at the surface, when this loop was going, as the fire was really getting started, when it was at its brightest here, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Wayne. Great explanation about the winds aloft. Now, we continue to follow the breaking news. We want to show you some more video taken from Green Lake State Park tonight. This is where people were really fixated on the sky as the blaze intensified, and that gives you another sense of the path of that plume of smoke, as Wayne was just describing. This is video that I took there about 8:30 tonight. You could see the sun was setting. The flames were growing at that time, much more under control at this hour. However, police told us just a short time ago this fire is not yet completely under control. We'll continue to follow this and talk with the retired fire chief from DeWitt about the challenges of fighting a wildfire in our backyard when we come back.
We're still lit up red, weather alert mode, because a lake effect snow warning has been extended through 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let's go to the computer. Let me show you that. Yeah, speaking of a whole lot of snow, I wanted to start out with this shot right here on the weather deck. Now, this is from the storm so far. I say so far because it's still snowing. We're still going to get some additional snow tonight and tomorrow. But we're up to 25.5 inches of snow out here on the weather deck. Now, I've been here 32 years. This is the second most snow I can remember.
Wayne is in the Weather Center tonight. He's tracking the storm minute by minute. He's adding up the totals and telling us what's next. Also, you see Mary Keeler there live at Syracuse Hancock Airport, letting us know about flights and whether they're still on schedule tonight. Our team coverage continues now. Mary Keeler's live at the airport with how officials are keeping things running tonight. Mary.
That's right, guys. And you know what? It's been a pretty smooth day out here, despite what I'm standing in. It's snowing, the wind is blowing, but you know what? There's been less than 10 flights that have been officially canceled that have been coming and going from here. But you know what? That's all thanks to a very well-oiled machine here that comes in the form of these workers. You see the lights flashing behind me. They've been working here on the ground.
We start with breaking news this morning on the south side of Syracuse. Right now, crews are investigating the cause of a fire on Pacific Avenue. Our Brandon Roth is there now live with the latest information. Brandon, what can you tell us?
Well, now we're talking to a lot of neighbors right here, Angie Lively Smith. And Angie, it hasn't been officially released, but you've heard that 2 of the children here have died.
Yes.
What can you tell us?
Just that they were very sweet kids.
Good evening. We begin with the breaking news. 2 days after the Amber Alert went into effect, major developments this evening. 21-month-old Maddox Lawrence, she's still missing. The Amber Alert still in effect, but it's her father, 24-year-old Ryan Lawrence, who is in police custody. They took him in nearly 6 hours ago now. A 911 call reporting a man matching Lawrence's description came from a worker at the Thrifty Shopper on Downer Street around 4:30 in the afternoon. Police found him then walking along Downer Street heading towards the Baldwinsville Village just a short time later. Now, police have said Lawrence could be unstable, could have been a threat to himself. They said he was actually in somewhat of a disguise, trying to conceal himself with a wig, a baseball hat, sunglasses, and more when he went to that Thrifty Shopper store. But still, someone recognized him underneath that mask. There are no reports of him resisting police when they found him this afternoon. He was then turned over to Syracuse police custody. Now, Maddox is 21 months old. She has blonde hair, brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a white shirt with brown puppies and a pink collar. She also had on pink pants, a blue coat, and a gray knit hat. And when I asked the Baldwinsville police chief about her tonight, he said he had to defer any of those questions to the Syracuse Police Department. He just wouldn't say. Right now, our Samantha German's live in Baldwinsville, where that 911 call was made and started this series of events tonight. Sam.
Matt, this was a pure coincidence. A former worker here just happened to be at the store, and she noticed a man wandering around who looked familiar, even though he was heavily disguised. Now, that former worker was one of two women inside the thrifty shopper this afternoon. The woman who waited on the suspect says she noticed he had on what looked like a wig, a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a camo bandana that came up to his mouth. The man's eyes looked familiar to another woman at the store, and she instantly thought it was Ryan Lawrence.
Team coverage of this tonight. Our Brett Hall is live at one of the search scenes. He's actually now into the town of Memphis. Brett, what's the latest where you are?
Good evening, Matt. As you just said, this search is becoming more and more expansive. We are off Whiskey Hollow Road in the town of Memphis, a few miles south of Baldwinsville, southwest of Baldwinsville. We just saw flashlights coming from this section of the woods. A vehicle just left here just a few moments ago. We did hear from police officers that they would be headed to Whiskey Hollow Road here in the town of Memphis. Once again, they left again. They are kind of on a goose chase, or that appears to be what they're on, searching anywhere for baby Maddox.
And Brett, that all fits in with what the chief told us earlier, that there was not a focus of the search, but obviously we're seeing the sheriff's department out, the state police, Baldwinsville police, a lot of concerned officers trying to do what they can. Thank you, Brett. We'll check back in with any developments. Now, heightening the concern about the welfare of Maddox, add this to the picture. It turns out she's endured her own health crisis before. She was diagnosed with a rare cancer of the eye. She had treatment for it. It's all according to an online fundraiser, a GoFundMe page. They raised close to $10,000 to help the family. The page indicates she will need more follow-up with doctors in the future. Again, this Amber Alert remains on tonight. If you've seen Maddox, if you have information, you can contact the police, 442-5222, that's the Syracuse police, or dial 911 from your area, as the caller did in Baldwinsville about 4:30 today. That got the ball rolling tonight. A lot of tears being shed here on Syracuse's north side tonight. A tragic fire right here on this block of Martin Street some 13 hours ago. Right now, investigators are still working inside the home, trying to get to the cause and origin of this fire. And Megan, 6 people were killed here last night.
It was such an incredible tragedy, and you can see the damage done by this roaring fire. Tonight, the Syracuse City School District confirms to us that 4 of the people killed were children, and they were students in their schools.
Reporting a house on fire, possibly on Kenwood Ave in the area of Cadillac Street. Reporting a 2-family home on fire. In here, a female yelling for help.
Cadillac and Martin Street, to be more precise. This video is from our viewer Ed LaPlante soon after the fire broke out last night, right around 4 a.m. The first call to 911 came in at 3:51. First responders arrived on the scene just moments later.
The fire broke out overnight in the early morning hours at a home along the 200 block of Martin Street here off Lemoyne Ave, just right at the intersection of Cadillac. It's just a block away from Lemoyne Elementary School.
Now, neighbors reported hearing an explosion just before the house caught fire at 3:51 this morning. Firefighters tried to enter the home through the front door, but then they had to retreat because the front porch had collapsed as the fire started to burn. The fire was put out by about 4:30 this morning.
It took us about 30 minutes to extinguish the fire because there was so much fire in the house, and unfortunately we found 6 victims inside the house.
Crews worked well into the afternoon here today to remove the bodies from the home. 4 of the victims were found upstairs. 2 were found downstairs.
There was a total of 8 people who lived inside this home. Investigators say among those killed, a 7-year-old girl. 3 boys aged 10, 12, and 13. 2 men ages 33 and 34 also lost their lives in the fire. We have not had an official release of their names as of yet.
Police say a 31-year-old woman was able to escape the fire and was taken to the hospital for treatment. Another 33-year-old man also lived in the house. He was not home when the fire broke out.
A very nice gesture. We've talked to many people since we've been here late this afternoon who really had their heart really touched by what happened here at 4 o'clock this morning.
We have extensive live team coverage of this terrible tragedy here on Martin Street tonight, beginning with our Samantha German, talking to neighbors about how they're coping with what happened. Sam?
Megan, you can just imagine it's been a very emotional day here in the neighborhood. Many neighbors who I've been speaking with, they've been crying and in tears. A lot of people have been coming by, dropping off balloons, flowers, and even stuffed animals. It's just been a lot of emotion. You can just feel the devastation here in this neighborhood today. Neighbors on Martin Street describe waking up to the unthinkable.
I originally smelled smoke, but I thought I was dreaming.
I just hope they didn't suffer too much, you know. I just can't imagine. Usually it's smoke and just not being able to breathe.
Lisa Walton says she's lived in the area for 53 years now and is absolutely heartbroken over what has happened.
My dogs woke me up. I have 2 Rottweilers, and they jump at anything. And I went and I looked out the window and I saw the lights, but I couldn't leave the house because I was scared. I didn't want to see.
She says she has a 3-year-old grandson, and all she can think about are the children who didn't make it out.
Those babies, those kids.
Feeling helpless, Lisa brings her grandson's teddy bear to the scene, marking the spot where 4 children and 2 others lost their lives.
Let's get to the latest. In Decision 2016, we have a team of reporters all across Central New York for you right now.
We have team coverage tonight. Headquarters, we just heard from her moments ago.
Well, it's a night that Colin Deakins is actually joining me live right now. You said you were just on the phone minutes ago with incumbent Congressman John Katko. What was that conversation?
I just congratulated him on winning re-election. It was a very nice conversation.
Take a look at a really key race here in Central New York that we've been following for you tonight, the 22nd Congressional District. Claudia Tenney coming out the winner here with 46% of the vote to Democrat Kim Myers and the third-party candidate Martin Babinek.
Justin Page, who's live with
Yeah, and with Congresswoman-elect Claudia Tenney, she just spoke here. She's joined by her family. Miss Tenney, how excited are you right now?
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very gratifying. Again, I'd like to just thank the voters. They hung in there with me. It's been a tough race.
President-elect. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Spitz.
And I'm Jeremy Miller. Republican President-elect Donald Trump took the stage in New York City just before 3 o'clock this morning, a little bit more than an hour ago, and claimed victory, saying Secretary Clinton called him to concede the election.
Let's take a look right now at the electoral votes in the race for president. You can see Donald Trump winning with 276. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton having 218.
This is a CNY Central Town Hall. Your voice, your future. The 24th Congressional District Debate.
Welcome to our conversation with the 2 people who want to represent Central New York in Congress.
We have a lot of ground to cover on the issues that matter to you. Let's start with the people who are asking for your vote on Election Day. Republican Congressman John Katko, who's asking voters for a second term in the House of Representatives, a former federal prosecutor. He's a member of the House Committee on Homeland Security.
And Democrat Colleen Deacon spent the last 6 years working for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Raised in Syracuse prior to her time with the senator, she was the press secretary for former Syracuse Mayor Matt Driscoll.
Let's move on to what we call the elevator pitch. We love this question because the job of representing Central New York in Congress really is, in our estimation, to be our cheerleader, to really root for us on every level. So I'd like you to imagine this. You're in an elevator. You've got 1 minute with the CEO of the hottest high-tech company there is out there. This person is looking to relocate jobs, maybe 500 of them. What do you say when you're on that elevator with that person going up or going down that is going to sell Central New York as the place to put those jobs? And we begin with Ms. Deacon.
Well, thanks. First, I would say, we have a workforce here in Central New York that is second to none. We know how to get the job done. We have the employees. We are ready to go to work. Not only do we have people that can be put on the job right away, but we've got amazing facilities available to move right in and take right over. I am so excited excited for the people here of Central New York. I am so excited for this business to come to this region. I've worked on the ground directly with local, state, and federal partners to make sure that your business has what it takes to be able to start up and get things going right away, whether that's tax breaks, whether that's working to provide grants and loan opportunities, whether that's training dollars for the employees to be able to work right away. But I think that you'll find that Central New York is the best place to locate your company. We're conveniently located, and we've got a workforce that will go hard to work every single day.
I would say Syracuse University. I would say Clarkson University. I'd say Cornell, Ithaca, University of Rochester, RIT, Union College, just to name a few within a short drive from Syracuse, New York. Those high-tech degrees and those smart kids coming out of those schools give you a rich labor force to work with. You also have great fundamentals here like clean and cheap water, and great workforce and a hungry workforce, people who want to get to work every day, and people are thirsty for more jobs. I would say that you have the support of the community. I would say that I would walk through walls for you, and you tell me what you need, and I wouldn't just give them a sales pitch. I'd say, you tell me what you need, and I'll make it happen, just like I did at Fitzpatrick, and just like I did with the highway bill. I deliver, and we will deliver for you, and we'll make sure that no matter what happens, you get here, you'll be very happy, and you're never going to want to leave.
We have breaking news right now out of Tompkins County this morning. The Ithaca Fire Department posted on their Facebook page that 17 miners are trapped at Cargill's Cayuga Salt Mine in Lansing, just outside of Ithaca. Rescue crews from Ithaca are helping the Lansing Fire Department and the Cargill mine staff. Here's what we know right now. The mine workers have been trapped 775 feet down an elevator shaft since just before 10:30 last night.
Overnight, Syracuse police respond to a shooting in Armory Square. This is what the scene looked like just after 1 o'clock this morning. Right now, police are still on the scene. That is where our Justin Page joins us live now with the latest information. Justin.
Lisa, a difficult start to Thanksgiving here in the city of Syracuse. Violence in Armory Square, as you said, the scene is still active. Law enforcement officers are still investigating the scene around Walton Street and Clinton Street.
New audio from one of the first officers to arrive at the scene last night. He told dispatchers about the chaotic scene when he called in for backup.
People around us getting attacked by bombs. Every unit I have county and everybody else on the way for you.
Right now, we're taking a live look at that scene. The shooting happened at around 11 o'clock last night on Otisco Street.
A lot of damage to that car, just a tow truck taking that car out here. We've been here since 2:30 this morning. That's when Syracuse police say that car went off the road on the eastbound road section of Erie Boulevard here between Beatty Street and Midler Avenue. That car losing control, going off. It looked like that car hit a tree or something from the damage seen in that car right now.
Here's a look at what's going to happen. New snow between now and tomorrow morning. Many areas getting 3 to 6 inches in central New York. It's still not great outside. Cuba Community College Live Triple Doppler radar showing this kind of mist of freezing drizzle and flurries across central New York. Viewer photos, Todd Walker in Westdale. Yeah, he's our Westdale weather watcher that always gives us our temperature. Look at how much snow he has seen. Look at all of this. He says about 18 inches since this started. Still extreme snowfall rates. I mean, this is how it works, right? Fulton, at least at this second, there's nothing. You drive up to Minetto, and it's a whiteout. Since roads have been salted, they're probably okay, but you're going to want to watch any roads that haven't been treated very often, and don't forget those neighborhood streets that might still be slop and glop from yesterday.
Newton, like Fig Newtons, as in Fig Newtons. That's I know. Newton. Okay.
Newton,
all right. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're gonna go for the launch off. Let's get the countdown. First time ever on Today in Central New York, a rocket launch. All right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We're gonna gather around, guys. We back up. Lisa, Jeremy, all right, come here. I want to show off. I want to show off my break dancing.
Okay.
Break dancing. Ready?
Pete, come on in. Okay. Sounds good.
And you're listening to the Cazenovia High School Chamber Choir.
So we had artisans in here to restore the plaster, duplicate the plaster, and repaint it by hand to make it look like wood, as well as the murals are all hand painted and placed inside the coffers.
Well, I'll tell you, you really have to see it up close. We're not even doing it justice. It's amazing, the detail. And again, it's just all part of the efforts that have gone into recapturing the beauty of the old Hotel Syracuse, which is now newly renovated.
Well, Sean O'Keefe has had 4 presidential appointments. He served in the administrations of both Presidents Bush. He's part of a small group that has helped speed up the process of presidential transition. It's a part-time effort. His full-time job these days is sharing his Washington wisdom with the leaders of tomorrow.
I, Sean O'Keefe.
I, Sean O'Keefe.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
A career of top-level appointment, testing Sean O'Keefe's leadership. At the height of joy,
we have booster ignition and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia with a multitude of national
and the depths of sorrow.
It was a crushing disaster. But at the same time, and therefore everybody took it very personally.
O'Keefe now shares his own insider experience with the government leaders of tomorrow at the top-ranked public affairs school in the nation, the Maxwell School.
Do you feel a responsibility towards these students to make sure they're set out in the right course?
Absolutely, and to do your level best to try to help shape their thinking, not the direction they're going to go. That's something each have to choose.
How do you keep the voice consistent? Does it just come out?
Yeah, it just comes out. It's just, you know, you just put it in the back of your throat and then out through your nose, and, you know, it's a little munchkin voice. SpongeBob. Oh, must be the long pants.
You know him best as the voice of SpongeBob. You may not know at any given moment he is voicing characters on 7 or 8 animated series.
I have been able to be Elroy Jetson. I've gotten to do, which is Dawes Butler was the original guy. You know,
Me and Astro are going to the Russian salt mines.
not that far from SpongeBob. And I've done Top Cat. I've gotten to do Top Cat. You know, cheese it, boys. It's Officer Dibble. And I got to do Bullwinkle in a Geico insurance commercial with June Foray, the original rock.
What does Bullwinkle say?
Oh, God, you know, I think he just had one line. I can't remember what the line is. Yeah, he just had to G-Rock. If you can say G-Rock, you can do Bullwinkle. G-Rock must be a 7.5.
The streets of Syracuse's near west side can be a heavy weight to overcome. Growing up on food stamps and public assistance. Living on your own in an apartment. And working 40 hours a week to make ends meet, all while in high school.
I get out at about 2 in the morning, and after that, I wake up at about 6, and I would ride my bike here to Fowler to make sure that I could graduate.
Jakeem Joyner graduated from Fowler in 1999. By 2004, he was living in LA. By 2009, he was #1 in smooth jazz.
Mr. Alisea? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you too.
Thanks to CNY Jazz, Joyner is back in town and sharing his experiences at Fowler.
I've been all throughout all the hallways, you know, and I wasn't, you know, I was a knucklehead sometimes, but I kind of figured things out in my senior year.
Well, there's a saying, mothers know best. And for one manliest mother, that couldn't be closer to the truth. Tonight, we introduce you to her twin girls and the struggle they were dealing with together. But it took a mother's intuition to know, as we focus on your family here in Central New York.
This is so hard.
Climbing high.
Very nervous.
And learning to conquer their fears.
Am I like an inch off the ground or not?
These two sisters are taking on those challenges together.
What?
After all, they've been playing together since birth.
Yeah.
Who's funnier?
Her. No. Her. You.
They are identical twins, now 6.5. Genevieve, or Vivi as she's better known, is a minute older. She likes purple. Layla is a little taller and prefers pink. But they both now share a struggle to hear.
Mona had thought for a couple years, like the girls don't hear that well.
In school, there were no clear signs of concern. They interacted well with other students and had no speech or learning delays. But deep down, their mother, Mona Smart, always knew.
I mean, my gut told me that something wasn't right.
All right, so we're going to connect you up here.
That's what brought the girls here, to get their hearing checked at Here to Learn in East Syracuse. Mona's suspicions were confirmed by the audiologist's first question.
Asked her when she talks on the phone to Grandma and Grandpa, what ear does she use? And she said, this one, my good one. And at that point, I mean, my heart just like dropped, because she'd never said that. She'd never, you know, I'd never prompted her to use words like my good ear, my bad ear. But really, with that first question, I knew it. I knew I was right.
When 23-year-old Jackie McClinton looks in the mirror, she sees so much more staring back at her. The long, dark locks masking years of insecurity and anxiety. Underneath, a young woman too afraid to reveal her true self until now.
I don't have hair. I will never have hair, and that's who I am.
Jackie's story begins when she was 11. That's when she started losing her hair. She was diagnosed with alopecia, an autoimmune disease where the body attacks hair follicles.
I would be in tears for most of the day. I just wanted to hide it, and there was nothing I could do.
Tonight, in a raw emotional interview, an Oswego woman shares her heartache, hoping to save a life, as we focus on your family here in Central New York.
Gorgeous. Life of the party.
As Jamie Lazinski flips through pictures of her baby brother,
Laughing, joking, always happy.
these are the moments she holds most dear.
Never, ever would we have thought that he was personally struggling with some inner demons. Never, never would have crossed my mind.
But his darkest days, those are the ones she struggles with the most.
He just felt that at that point in his life, he didn't matter anymore. He thought that everyone would be better off without him. So on August 7th, 2002, my brother had completed suicide at the age of 16. 16 years old.
It's been 14 years since she lost her brother Ryan. All these years later, the pain of his loss is still too much to bear.
There's not a day that goes by that you don't think about that person. He will forever have a part of my heart and soul.
Well, welcome back to your town, Cortland. We're enjoying a beautiful evening here on Main Street. We have all kinds of choices of food and some special guests. What do you find special about this Main Street corridor? This is something that not every community has.
Absolutely, and you know, you asked what's impressive or what's important about Cortland. The biggest thing is the people, because we've got people that really are community-minded, civically engaged, care about the community and love to come and get together. So we've got parks in the different neighborhoods. But in particular for the grown-ups, Main Street is a great place to gather, and you can have a meal, you can walk around, you get a chance to see other people in the community.
Hey guys.
Well, hello, Sam. We have got an envious position here tonight, right on the shore of Lake Ontario, overlooking the marina, the lighthouse. It is a magnificent view here.
After you've picked up your ice cream and scouted a spot on the shore, Rudy's is perfectly positioned to take in this gorgeous view. Once the sun rests its sleepy head over the horizon, colorful clouds dance across the sky.
My favorite sunset, the ones that have kind of the purples. That's what I really like, the purples and oranges. And they're beautiful.
Welcome back to Auburn. We're live here with our Your Town broadcast tonight, live from the Plaza Exchange Street. Great to be in the center of Cayuga County, downtown Auburn. A lot of vitality here, and one of the leaders of the community here, certainly Mayor Michael Quill. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being in Auburn. It's great to see you, and hope you have a great time.
What would you encourage them to come to Auburn for?
Just about anything they enjoy. The Music Theater Festival, you know, the Merry-Go-Round Theater at the lake, the restaurants downtown Auburn here, the museums, the Seward Mansion, to soon be our national park with the Harriet Tubman home. So there's just about everything that someone would like to do. We have it here.
Of course, that's why we have Jack the Sports Dog and Abner here.
to celebrate that, thank you, Abner, for joining us tonight. Get out and enjoy a Doubledays game this season. What a great night here at Auburn as our Your Town season is off and running, isn't it?
What a wonderful evening. Thanks so much to everybody in Auburn for having us here tonight. Welcome back to our live broadcast, Your Town from Oneida, as we explore this wonderful community here in Central New York and what makes it so unique. Joining me tonight to talk about Oneida and what it means to them, Mayor Leo Maskey and Royale Scuderi from the Chamber of Commerce. Great to be with you guys tonight.
Thank you. Good to be
Well, and we have some wonderful treats that we've been talking about, this delicious bread and the cheeses and all kinds of great things that you offer here. So, Mayor, let's start with you. What is your favorite part about Oneida? Why do you love this community so much?
The people.
Yeah.
There is no, you know, we're
when I moved here back in '75, it was a very special place. We have a lot of people now with renewed enthusiasm that want to bring that special place back.
Okay.
We were amazed at how many of you had last-minute questions on voting. Our answer desk phones real busy. One question, how do I know where to vote? The answer, go to the ongov.net website and click on the Board of Elections. There's lots of information there.
Well, we get a hold of the candidates and they fill in a profile and they answer questions that we've put to them about the office they'll be running for. And it's at vote411.org.
Again, that information website is vote411.org. And there's some last-minute information on what you can and cannot wear when you go to your polling place.
Inside of 100-foot mark of the polling place, you can't have any buttons or T-shirts or do anything that's electioneering, passive or otherwise. We hold that very sacred. We want people to make up their own minds on how to vote, and it's against the law.
We remind you that the polls are open tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., so do get out and vote. And next week on the Answer Desk, we have help for you and your pet if your dog is misbehaving. For the Answer Desk, I'm Laura Hand reporting.
Central New York, believe it, the Oranges off to the Final Four for the first time since 2013 in a most unexpected fashion. No question about it, it should be a great game. We've seen fans supporting a lot of Iowa State fans here in town. They're so close to Chicago, and we have this great view from the Willis Tower sky deck. And to give you reference, behind me is looking north. So if you went far enough behind me, you'd eventually get to the Wisconsin border. We'll save that for another day.
Nico, Coach Babers called them a wounded mama bear, that being the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
And we see this moment, the last time that Pearl was at the Dome, December 19th, when SU played Cornell, so many alums back. Take me through this moment. You guys hugged a lot of former players there. What was that day? What was that moment like?
It was, it was just a great time to see him make it up to Syracuse that day. And I remember him coming out, and I had to tell him, I said, follow me, I'm right behind you. And I got out there and I gave him a hug and I just told him I wish him well and just keep fighting. That's going to be missed.
The ring of the bell marked the end of the pain.
Set it up, Lawrence, set it up! Straight punches! 1, 2! Yeah!
I could hear the crowd, but I wasn't trying to let it affect my mind just because I knew I just needed to concentrate on him.
Here's the thing, he's ready to go. The only thing he's trying to come with is this. You gotta have your hands up. Come on, Lawrence! Use your feet! Uppercut! Uppercut! Right up 3! Yeah!
Ref raises your hand. What's that like?
Just great. I mean, it's just good to be back, to be normal.
Good job. Good job.
So when things aren't fair, life's not fair, I mean, you can't let it push you around. You can't let it tell you what you can or can't do. And that's my best advice. It doesn't matter what everybody else says, just keep pushing and keep doing what you want. Keep doing what you want, you'll get there.
Great job, brother. Great comeback. The comeback kid, just the beginning of a dream that could not be killed. A dream come true. This just shows you how much fun it is here at Challenger Baseball. Reporting, there it is, down the left field line. Take first base. Reporting live at MBT Bank Stadium. This is a blast. I'm Nico Tamurian.
So good.
Nico, once you threw a strike, the batter had no problem.
What happens next? A moment, a lifetime in the making.
Tailback, buddy. Let's go, let's go. Go get him, buddy.
He's an amazing young man.
Let's go.
I was thinking, I was like, wow, I can finally get my chance. I've been waiting for it.
Senior Christian Baxter out of field for his first ever play.
I was amazing and excited. I've been helping out for a long time, and I thought to myself, I just want to play.
The dream that drives a Christian Baxter comes true. Christian finally finds the end zone, teaching everyone to never give up hope.
Tonight, the Central New York community continues to mourn the loss of little Maddox Lawrence. Good evening, everyone. I'm Megan Coleman. Just after noon today, Syracuse police found a body in the Inner Harbor, which they believe is that of the little girl. It is a devastating end to a story that had the entire community praying for her safe return. Her disappearance over the weekend sparked an Amber Alert. Tonight, her father, 24-year-old Ryan Lawrence, is charged with second-degree murder. You're getting the first look at his mugshot. He remains locked up tonight in the Onondaga County Justice Center and will be arraigned tomorrow morning. Tonight, we have extensive live team coverage of this story, and we begin with the latest on the investigation. Matt is live at the Inner Harbor with more on that. Matt?
Well, Megan, it's been such an emotional day for all involved, the family, the police, and certainly the community, too. I talked with a family member late this afternoon who said they're devastated and are going to need time to heal. This is news they just hope they would not get. Then there was the late afternoon news conference from Chief Frank Fowler, who seemed on the verge of breaking down in tears himself, such a strong man, feeling the emotions of this day and the search for baby Maddox. And then the scene where we are right here, the Inner Harbor area, where one police officer I spoke with who was present at the time said you could hear a pin drop when they brought her body out of the water today. Now, these are icy waters here at the Inner Harbor. We're right near the Bear Street Bridge where it meets Van Rensselaer. And they say they believe the remains are baby Maddox, although they must wait for DNA testing. They are confident that this is the little girl they've been looking for. Police recovered baby Maddox's body around noontime, maybe just a little after today, in this Inner Harbor area, not far from Destin, USA, a very familiar spot to people. They found her in the creek under the Bear Street overpass. Here's what Chief Fowler had to say late in the day about how emotional this is for all of the officers involved.
We're supposed to protect our children, and all of us in law enforcement, that's the way we feel, and for most of us, that's the reason why we enter into this line of business here. As challenging as it may be in today's environment, we're willing to step up and don those badges and uniforms each day to stand in the gap, to try to assure that something like this doesn't happen. And when it does, yeah, we want to bring closure for the family, but boy, it don't make it any easier.
That was Chief Fowler late this afternoon. We're going to go into some of the details of what the chief explained happened and how noontime today they were here with the state police divers in this water and the events that transpired since Saturday night when the mother, Morgan Lawrence, first told the police that she thought something was terribly wrong with regard to her husband and her 21-month-old daughter, Maddox. Now, in terms of the memorial that's taking shape here, as often happens in tragedies like this, people looking for a way to express themselves. This memorial for Maddox has been set up in place on the Onondaga Creek Walk here. There's flowers, there's balloons, stuffed animals, all filling a small spot near the police scene where the rescue and the recovery took place today. And tonight, family and friends are planning a candlelight vigil for the grieving community. They're expecting that to start at the Inner Harbor Pavilion around 8 o'clock tonight. That's the spot where that familiar white tent is, not far from the construction of the new hotel at the Inner Harbor. Now, more about little Maddox. We've been hearing about her over the last 3 days. She was diagnosed with a rare cancer of the eye and did have treatments. You remember the GoFundMe page where the community chipped in to raise nearly $10,000 for her treatment, and she was still in need of more care from her doctors. We want to talk more about the investigation and the fact that Ryan Lawrence is now charged with murder in the second degree. For that, we go to our Alex Dunbar, who was at the police news conference at the Public Safety Building late today. Alex?
Syracuse Police Chief Frank Fowler being very careful in what he had to say this afternoon, not giving very many details about how baby Maddox was found or what her father, Ryan Lawrence, had to say to police. Fowler saying he didn't want to do anything that could compromise what is still an ongoing investigation. Chief Fowler said this has been a very difficult investigation for officers. The department wanted to bring closure to Maddox's family, but an arrest doesn't make it any easier. Multiple times, the chief reminded everyone at the press conference that many details police know right now cannot be revealed at this time. When asked about Ryan Lawrence's mindset, the chief making it very clear there are no easy answers.
What you're asking for me to do is to follow a logical thought process to describe a very heinous and illogical act. It just don't work that way. It just don't work that way.
The chief very emotional at times during this press conference, saying that we owe children under our care the right to grow up. Chief also saying they are not looking at other suspects at this time, but they are hoping to hear from more witnesses, still trying to piece together some of the details. For now, reporting from the Syracuse Police Department in downtown Syracuse, I'm Alex Dunbar.
Thank you, Alex. Alex and I were both at that news conference at the Public Safety Building, and the chief really was visibly upset as he tried to explain to the community all he could about what happened here. Now let's talk more about the events that took place. You remember the mother of baby Maddox was working at Destiny Saturday night, and her car was left in the parking lot. Well, let's pick up that timeline. Ryan Lawrence was supposed to pick up his wife Morgan from her job at Destiny USA Saturday night late. Instead, she got a text saying her car was left for her in the parking lot with the keys in the ignition. When she arrived home, she found a message from Ryan saying he was taking Maddox, their daughter. Morgan called police at about 11:30 Saturday night, and the tone in Ryan's message led police to believe he was serious. He could be a danger to himself or Maddox. The Amber Alert was issued Sunday morning early. Then, Ryan Lawrence, Maddox's father, was taken into custody yesterday afternoon in the Baldwinsville area. Remember, we told you about this last evening. A 911 call reporting a man matching Lawrence's description came from a worker at the Thrifty Shopper on Downer Street. That was around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. At the time, he was wearing a disguise, trying to conceal himself. He had on a wig, a baseball hat, sunglasses, and when he went into the Thrifty Shopper, someone working there recognized him because she had been watching all of this unfold on the news. Police found him walking along Downer Street a short time later.
She told me she followed him down towards Rite Aid on Downer Street, and the police came and they said that they apprehended him and they weren't sure. I guess they did ask for his ID. This is what an officer told us, and it was him. He seemed a little off, but I just took it as, like I said, I thought he was homeless because he smelled like firewood, like he was in front of a campfire or something.
He smelled like a campfire, according to those who saw him that night, because he had been on the run for about 36 to maybe 48 hours at that point. Now, he spent some time in several different areas. In fact, Chief Fowler addressed this at the news conference this afternoon, saying they've had several locations that they've had to investigate with regard to what happened to baby Maddox after she was taken Saturday night. Let's show you a map, at least to give you some idea where we're talking about. The Baldwinsville area, where Ryan Lawrence was arrested, or at least taken into custody initially. Police began searching the Inner Harbor area near Destiny USA. They were doing that Sunday, but then they got more focused today. Search efforts also turned to an area called Labrador Hollow near Tully. Now, state police, Syracuse police, and the state forest rangers were searching there all day. It's right near Tinker Falls off Route 91. Right now, we don't know exactly why the police were there. They say it was pertinent to the investigation. In fact, the chief today addressed that, saying, yes, they were there because of this investigation, but no, he was not going to explain in detail why that was. Our Sarah Beth Ackerman has been covering the search and recovery all day today. This afternoon, she talked with people in the Valley Drive neighborhood where the Lawrence family lived. Sarah Beth.
There's a sense of deep sadness here on Valley Drive, and those who heard the heartbreaking news are already coming over to the street and leaving some items. You see here a balloon, a candle, and also a note here that reads, "Rest peacefully, baby Maddox." Many neighbors who live on this street and the Syracuse community were hopeful of a much better ending after the Amber Alert was activated over the weekend. One neighbor who lives across the family says he would have seen the family from time to time, and today's news is absolutely devastating.
It's very surprising. However, I never can judge walk a mile in a man's shoes. So I don't know what he was going through at the time, but it was surprising. It's very sad.
Tonight, there are 2 Syracuse police cars standing outside the home. We have not seen anyone come in or go out at this time, but neighbors nearby say they do remember seeing baby Maddox playing in a sandbox in the summertime, and they can't believe she's really gone. For now, reporting live in Syracuse, I'm Sarah Thackerman.
Such a heart-wrenching time for this community. Obviously, the family, those working on the investigation. All weekend long, people had kept their hopes up right into this morning. Those hopes were dashed, and we're all feeling that mourning tonight for Maddox. Megan?
Well, Matt, we heard at the news conference today, people were asking the question why, and so many people in our community tonight are wondering what could have led this man to allegedly take the life of his own child. The police chief said today that he's not aware of any mental illness. What are we hearing tonight? Do we have any sense as to a motive in this case?
Well, as the chief said today, whatever motive that there might be doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. He said, we are asking him to think logically, and he said in this case, the accused was not thinking logically. Coming up tonight at 6, I did ask the chief if there's anyone else out there right now feeling perhaps isolated, feeling like they don't have any alternatives. What should they do? And he gave me an answer that'll have people thinking about how great this community really is. Megan, more later on.
All right, Matt, we'll see you in a little bit. Tonight, we continue our coverage of baby Maddox's death. Coming up at 5:30, our Samantha Durbin talks to friends of the Lawrence family who are planning a vigil for tonight. Also at 5:30, we hope to get some answers from Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick. He's my special guest live in studio talking about his plans to prosecute this case. Of course, for the latest information on this developing story, go to our website, cnycentral.com. Still ahead on NBC3 News at 5. Wayne?
And Megan, we got a quiet weather pattern around right now on live triple up radar brought to you by Hugo Community College, but brand new winter weather advisories have been issued. I'll tell you what that's going to mean for us coming up in a few minutes.
I think that we tend to underestimate the range of cues that our children are capable of giving us.
Capitalizing on cues from your baby to teach them toilet training from birth. That's right, it may be possible. Tonight, a Fayetteville woman explains how it works and how long it took with her own children. You won't want to miss it. You're watching NBC3 News at 5. Welcome back to NBC3 News at 5. Say the words potty training and most parents will cringe, hoping to avoid the inevitable task of teaching their children to use the potty. But what if there was a way to ditch the diapers earlier? One local mother says it's not only possible, but it works.
It was just luck, and most of it for us was just luck.
For toddlers, their first few years of life are filled with exploration, learning to interact with other children and developing skills on their own. And when it comes time for potty training, there's a big learning curve for parents too, like Lauren Wojciechowski, who's meeting up with other moms to learn about potty training from birth.
I think it's a great idea, and I think that it's just a better way to get them used to the potty earlier so that they become comfortable with it.
So in the moment, it seems like really intense and very
Leading up the class on this unique potty training technique is Emily Polikoff of Fayetteville. She's a certified potty coach who helps parents and kids navigate the sometimes stressful world of toilet training.
Okay.
It's a concept called elimination communication, one she started with her own children at home.
I love kids, and I just want to help other parents make it as fun and easy as possible.
Polikoff says 1.5 to 2.5 years old is usually the best window for actual potty training. But the process, she says, can start much sooner than you might think.
The earlier you can start helping them know that there is another option, the easier potty training will be.
Parents can start by watching their baby, looking for signs they have to go.
This is a smaller potty that's great for littler kids, especially on the go.
Hold them over a potty or a cloth. Then use noises to give your baby the cue to go.
You can make a little sound like psst for pee, or some people click or grunt for poop, and they build that association between being held and hearing the sound.
Polikoff admits it seemed a little strange at first, but she's seen success with both of her children. Her 4-year-old daughter was out of diapers by 22 months.
Here we go.
And her 16-month-old is almost there.
Tell mommy potty.
Both started when they were just a few weeks old.
When she started to scrunch up her face and make faces, I just held her really carefully in my arms and held a potty underneath her, or just held her over a diaper or another cloth and just said, okay, go potty.
Polikoff says your baby won't necessarily understand what you're saying, but holding them in that position can actually teach them more than you think.
And it should be on their schedule, and it is.
Dr. Marcus Rivera is a pediatric gastroenterologist with Upstate University Hospital and says whatever age parents decide to start the process and whichever technique they use, they should plan on being patient.
I think there's a tendency to think it's going to be a little easier than it really ends up being.
Some signs to watch out for: children pulling at their diaper, sitting uncomfortably, or hiding. He says rewards like stickers or candy work well, and he warns parents it won't happen overnight.
I'm telling them to just be calm, to create a positive environment, and to really sort of reward if possible, but to be patient. It takes a time.
Who's this?
Kiki.
Who's that?
Didi.
Bird.
Back with our potty coach, who agrees it can be a bit overwhelming for parents. She hopes teaching babies and their parents to communicate will make it easier to ditch the diapers later on.
Completely agree that you should listen to the cues that your child is giving you. But I think that we tend to underestimate the range of cues that our children are capable of giving us.
Polikoff is part of a national group called Go Diaper Free, which teaches parents the art of elimination communication. The organization says there's really a range depending on the kid. Some can go potty on cue as early as 6 months and can be reasonably independent anywhere from 10 months old to 2 years old. Still ahead on NBC3 News at 5 tonight. We continue our coverage of baby Maddox, whose body was pulled from the Inner Harbor today. The latest on the investigation. And we hear from heartbroken neighbors who were praying for that little girl's safe return. But first tonight, a live look at the growing memorial at the Inner Harbor as the community continues to mourn that little girl. We're going to hear from a family friend who's planning a candlelight vigil for her tonight. And Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick is my special guest in the studio with the latest on the investigation. That's next at 5:30. Happening right now. Sadness filled central New York tonight as the search for Maddox Lawrence reaches a horrifying end. Right now, we are going to take you to the Inner Harbor in Syracuse, where a body believed to be that of the little girl was pulled out of icy waters earlier today. Straight ahead, the latest on the investigation and the charges her father is now facing, as Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick joins me as a special guest live in studio to talk about his plans to prosecute the case. Tonight, how family and friends are remembering the life of a SUNY Buffalo student who was allegedly killed during a hazing incident. But first tonight, the central New York community continues to mourn little Maddox Lawrence. The little girl's body was pulled from the Inner Harbor just after noontime today, a devastating end to a story this entire community was praying for her safe return. Her disappearance over the weekend sparked an Amber Alert when police learned her father likely took her and threatened to harm himself and his little girl. Matt is live at the Inner Harbor right now with late-breaking details not far from where the 21-month-old girl was found. And Matt, we're learning new details from a police press conference held late today.
Megan, we're learning a lot of details about what took place, not just today, but also over the last several days with regard to this case. First of all, District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick just told us that there's a motive in this case, that he says that Ryan Lawrence complained that he wasn't getting enough attention from his wife, and that was his motivation for the crime that he's now accused of committing, including the murder of his own daughter, 21-month-old Maddox. We're also seeing people coming here to this Inner Harbor area where we're standing tonight. They're coming to pay respects. They feel compelled just to be near the spot where her body was discovered just after noontime today. Now, today I talked with the family of young Maddox on the phone, and they told me they are devastated and they just need time to heal. Maddox was reported missing from her home in Syracuse Saturday night after her mother, Morgan, went to their Valley Drive home and noticed both she and her husband were missing. Ryan was supposed to pick up Morgan at her job at Destiny USA late Saturday night. Instead, he left the car in the parking lot with the keys in the ignition. Tragically, after searching for 3 days, investigators finally found the remains of Maddox in Syracuse's Inner Harbor. Now, tonight, there is a memorial that's starting to develop in memory of young Maddox along the creek walk here at the Inner Harbor in the rough spot where her body was brought on shore just after noontime today by those New York State Police divers. Community members who came out to watch the search of the little girl left keepsakes right below the crime tape. As for the father, well, late this afternoon, he was officially arrested and booked. He's now in the county jail downtown, charged with second-degree murder, scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow morning. He was picked up in Baldwinsville by police yesterday afternoon around 4:30. You may recall we told you about this last night. After a 911 call reported a man matching Ryan's description that came from a worker at the Thrifty Shopper on Downer Street in the Baldwinsville area. Police found Lawrence walking along Downer Street, heading for the village of Baldwinsville. A short while later, they questioned him, and then they contacted Syracuse police, who came out and brought him in for questioning last night. Syracuse police held a press conference just about 2 hours ago now, talking about the details of this investigation.
We're supposed to protect our children, and all of us in law enforcement, that's the way we feel, and for most of us, that's the reason why we enter into this line of business here. As challenging as it may be in today's environment, we're willing to step up and don those badges and uniforms each day.
That was Chief Frank Fowler late this afternoon, responding to a question I asked him about how devastating this is for the detectives, for the law enforcement members involved with investigating a crime like this one that is not only terribly sad, but also quite horrific once we learn all the details that occurred here and in other locations. Now, speaking of those other locations, we've been telling you throughout the day that they were searching overnight in the Baldwinsville area. That, of course, is where Ryan Lawrence was discovered and taken into custody yesterday. There was also a search in the Labrador Hollow area today. The chief confirmed to us at that news conference that that is relevant to the investigation. And then, of course, just after noontime today, the helicopters were in the air, the divers were in the water, and the remains of baby Maddox were discovered here in the Inner Harbor, just underneath the Bear Street Bridge, just a few feet from where I'm standing now. Of course, with this story, as tragic and captivating as it is, neighbors turned out. They wanted to be close to what was going on. They were holding out hope late in the day, and here's what they had to say. As the search intensified with a helicopter and authorities actually going into the water, the sense of dread that had been building at the Inner Harbor turned into a gut punch. It was clear the search for Maddox Lawrence was going to end here.
I think everybody has the same feeling when you have small children. You know, and it's just a lot of love, and why would you hurt someone so innocent? I don't know. It's a big question. Why? Why would somebody do something so terrible?
The police presence drew people who felt compelled to be close to the action. They followed the Amber Alert since the weekend, since moms with their children bundled up came, just in case police needed them to start looking around.
It's freezing. That's all I kept thinking, is it's freezing out all night. Nobody can find her. We have so much body of water in the city of Syracuse. I don't know why it's taken them this long to look in the water.
It's frustrating, and as a mom, you're saying things that resonate with moms everywhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's insane. I feel bad.
The search came to an end along the Syracuse Creek Walk, a place known as a jewel in the city, a place to walk the dog or with friends. Deborah Tucker says she came to pray.
For healing, just praying.
We all need it.
Yeah, it's just, Lord, let your will be done. But it just came to a bad, sad ending, and hearts are broken right now.
How can it be the will? Don't you ask yourself that? Despite your faith, don't you ask? So many people ask, how can it be the will that this would happen?
I can't answer that one. I just say, Lord, let your will be done.
People have been asking questions since I've been here over the last hour and a half tonight as they come to visit. They've been wondering things like, was the baby alive when she was put in the water here? Why did this happen? Little by little, we're learning some of those answers tonight. One man who will learn more about that is District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick. He's back in the studio with Megan tonight to talk more about this case. Megan?
All right, Matt, we'll see you in just a little bit. Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick is my special guest tonight. DA, thank you for being here. It's a case that has shaken this entire community. And as you know, people want answers. They want to know why. Do we have any sense as to how this could have happened?
Well, we're going to know a lot more tomorrow in terms of how we proceed with the prosecution. The medical examiner is going to conduct an autopsy on baby Maddox in the morning. I'll consult with him, during and after the autopsy. And then my plan is to present the case to an Onondaga County grand jury on Monday, and then depending on what the grand jury does, be able to reveal some more information to the general public.
Now, at this point, we don't know of any criminal history that this gentleman has, Mr. Lawrence. So
Right.
how do you go from that to this? What kind of clues do we have?
It's not unheard of. I mean, I've prosecuted a number of child murderers who that's the first time they ever broke the law in any meaningful way. So it's not unique to Mr. Lawrence. And we'll probably learn a lot more about his background, the events leading up to the death of baby Maddox as we pursue the investigation.
What have you learned about him so far?
Not much. He was picked up by the Syracuse Police Department up in Baldwinsville and brought down to the public safety building. He was questioned for a while. Most of it's on videotape. He was treated very well. He was allowed to take breaks and have food and do other things. His story obviously altered with time, but I would say it was a phenomenal job of police interrogation. And eventually he decided to tell us where he had deposited little Maddox's remains.
And I understand that you just had a conversation with my colleague Michael Benny where you alluded to some sort of jealousy going on. What is that about?
Well, again, not unique. Some child killers don't like the attention that the child has garnered, either from a spouse or other family members, and Mr. Lawrence alluded to that in his statement. Obviously, the full statement will come out at his trial.
Where does this case fit in with the rest of your career? You've prosecuted some really, really terrible crimes. This one, though, really seems to resonate with a lot of people and kind of leaves a pit in their stomach today.
Yeah, most parental abductions end up with the child being recovered. And everybody that I'm aware of in SPD, the state police, the sheriff's department, my office, we're all praying that little baby Maddox could be put back in her mother's arms, and it didn't work out that way. And it's just words are inadequate. You have to buy a new thesaurus to get the words to describe the grief, really.
You mentioned the autopsy will be conducted. Do we know at this point, though, do we have any clues as to how she died, or are you able to say that at this point?
Pretty good idea of how baby Maddox died. Obviously, I want to discuss that with Morgan face to face, let her know before I let everybody else know.
And what do you hope that this community can do moving forward? Certainly there's a big show of support. A vigil is planned for tonight. So there's a great deal of effort trying to rally around this family.
Well, as we do an investigation, we'll ask questions. Were warning signs missed? Were efforts made on his part to reach out and get help, or was it just a cold-blooded act of evil that he kept to himself and carried out diabolically? If it's the former, then we try to reassess. What did we miss? Where could we have reached out? Where could we have helped and maybe avoided this? If it's the latter, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
It is a horrific case. We know it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, heartbreaking, Megan.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, still to come for you, new at 6 tonight, morning baby Maddox. Tonight, the search is over for that Syracuse toddler so many of you were praying for. We will take you live to where she was found with the latest on the charges her father's facing, and her heartbroken neighbors speak out as they are wrapping their arms around this little girl's family tonight. That's ahead at 6. You're watching NBC 3 News at 5:30.